Ace said. "She doesn't seem like much, but we've still got to take her down." "That's my job, Ace." 20 points, he said. "Let's make it 30. Ace chuckled. "Say hi to your kid." He clicked off before I could say anything else. Truthfully, on the Karen M. Neulander scale of objectionable politicians, Ace Reynolds barely nudged 5. Believe me, some of these mouth-breathers I've encountered, some of them I've even worked for. At least Ace remembered I had cancer. At least he remembered I had you. So I filled out some paperwork to send back, and then, while I was at it, sent an email to Jaleesa to see how the hamster was doing. At around 7, you knocked on my door. Here, you went to sleep early and woke with the light, and we decided to go downtown for breakfast, because it was a Saturday in June, and nobody else in this house was going to wake up for another 2 hours, and because it was sunny out, and because you were hungry, and I could fake being hungry for you. The Belle Cafe on the water had a whole salad bar-type setup of whipped cream and maple syrup. We went there often and early before the crowds of fleeced-up Seattle parents or hungover musicians could stop us. "Did you call him yet?" you asked as we parked around the corner from the Belle. "Are you kidding? I haven't even figured out how to find him." You looked stricken, but still, reflexively, you held my hand as we crossed the street. "I thought you knew." "I told you I could find out," I said. "I never said I knew. But it won't be hard. I'll Google him. We can find him this afternoon." This was much sooner than I'd planned on. "What if he wants to stay private?" "That's impossible, even if he wanted to. There's no such thing as privacy anymore. Besides," I said, nodding at the hostess, who knew us by now, and where we liked to sit, "he's a lawyer, and lawyers don't like privacy. They all want the world to know how great they are." You nodded like this was gospel. "Will he be mad to hear from you?" "No," I said. "He might be surprised, but he won't be mad." I hoped this was true. We picked up our menus and casually perused, even though I knew what we were each going to have. I loved going out to restaurants with you. We'd been doing it since you were born. I used to nurse you in restaurants, and it was surprising to me that I would do such a thing, considering, before I had you, watching other women nurse was mortifying. But oh, as they say, there was so much you couldn't know until you had a child. I loved nursing you, and did it until you were almost a year old and pushed the breast away as though you were embarrassed, like you couldn't stand it anymore, and I tried to force you. I remembered wondering how I would live without the hormonal rush of nursing, the calorie-burning, life-affirming sigh of it. But you squirmed your little head, and then finally you chomped down, and I got the idea. I had been so anxious with you back then. When you were a baby, you'd fall asleep in my arms, and even though I was beyond exhausted, I wouldn't let myself sleep, for fear you'd fall from my grip, as if I'd ever let you fall. But then every time I'd try to put you in your crib, you'd wake up shrieking. So I'd just sit in that rocking chair, forcing myself to stay awake, playing Scrabble on my iPhone over your heavy little body, doing everything in my power not to nod off. And then one day, when you were 5 weeks old, Allie was visiting, and she took a sleeping you from my arms, and magically, like a spell had been cast, you stayed asleep. And then she put a pillow under my feet, and we slept in your nursery, both of us, soundly, for 6 hours straight. It was undoubtedly the best sleep I got that year. "Look at that kid," you said, after a cheerful, lip-pierced waitress brought us our order. I turned to see a small child by the maple syrup bar, decked out in full Batman gear, cape and mask and shiny shoes. He was balancing an enormous plate of waffles and whipped cream, and I could see what was about to happen, but like Cassandra, I knew.